Hello, Meoni here, and like many of you, I have been hunting Arkveld on normal mode to try and get all of the items. Every time you clear Arkveld on normal, you get yourself 2 scales from the carve, and you also get a weapon coffer. The weapon coffers, there's one for every single job. Whatever you open it on will obviously turn into whatever job you are currently on in terms of weapons. These are 745 item level weapons that you can augment by doing the extreme version as well. I thought we'd have a look at all of the weapons today because this is something that took me quite a while to do, as you could probably imagine, and I'm absolutely over the moon with the results. I'm very happy with what they've done here. Obviously the weapons are designed to look like Arkveld weapons, Veldian weapons as they are called, and that is from Monster Hunter Wilds. Arkveld is a pretty interesting monster. Lots of chain tendrils, like wing tendril material, lots of chains, lots of fur, and typically white. Unfortunately, even if you augment these, they do not turn into dyeable versions. It is just simply for an item level increase, so that is the first kind of knock against it. But the items themselves are very pretty. I really like them, and unlike previous events, at least we get something for every single job that you play. I do like the sage weapons here. They remind me of 4 floating hunting horns. Obviously, there's lots of little references, I guess, either intentionally or maybe I'm just reading into that with the hunting horn here, to the Monster Hunter games, which I highly recommend you play. They're a fantastic collection of incredible JRPGs, quite honestly, that has taken over my teen life all the way up till now, and Wilds is obviously a fantastic game. Looking at Astro then, we're going through our healers. This one has kind of like horn material that you'd probably see on the side of the monster itself. All these things carved and sort of very faithfully sort of done if they were actually done in the Monster Hunter world. And yeah, with a little bit of a Final Fantasy spin, obviously, with that of the jobs that they're, requiring to meet the requirements of, such as the Astrologian globe here, spinning around some kind of core in the center there. Pretty cool looking stuff, honestly, and the further we go through these, the more impressive it gets. Hopefully I'm giving you enough footage per weapon. I've done weapon previews before where unfortunately I have not dedicated enough time to each one, so I've tried to equalize it as much as possible, but at the same time that also results in a 15-minute video, so I have put timestamps. I do apologize. I know some people don't like longer videos, but to showcase these properly, you actually needed to have a video of this length. I quite like the Scholar book. You'll notice some of these have special effects when you unsheath them, where parts of the bone will actually break off, which is quite an interesting thing. That's both a visual and an auditory sort of signal as well, which is quite surprising. But yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. I ended up liking the Scholar and Summoner books this time. Moving on to our tanks then, the Warrior one was my biggest disappointment when I first saw it. I'm used to big warrior axes, and I thought this would be a lot bigger. The best thing about this is that it does extend when you unsheath it, and it does look pretty cool. We've got those scales popping out there, which looks pretty awesome. It's not a bad weapon. I just like big meaty weapons. This one looks a little bit blunt. We've got the chains sort of rattling in the wind there. You'll notice there's a lot of things, dangling things, chains, that kind of thing attached to those. Sort of obviously mimicking Arkveld with its arrays of bony structures attached to its wrist with that sort of tendon material and the bone flaking off, which is pretty cool. And I think you'll agree, it is as close as we could physically get to having, Monster Hunter effects in our game. And it looks really good, doesn't it? Of course, the biggest criticism from this event that I've seen a lot of people share, and myself included, is that it would have been nice to have an Arkveld armor set to go with these weapons. The weapons themselves are absolutely gorgeous. They hit the nail right on the head, albeit that they can't be dyed. I do think it was a missed opportunity to not include an Arkveld armor set. I think that would have been an absolutely fantastic set of gear added to the game. I don't know if that's a restriction based on, obviously, the collaboration with Capcom, if they wanted to give that, to the player, or if that's something they want to just, go play Wilds if you want to get that armor set, so to speak. But the armor set in Wilds is absolutely gorgeous, especially the Arkveld Guardian set. So it's a bit of a shame, but at least we got the Hope set, which I suppose is more iconic because it is the set that you start in. I would like to see an actual Monster Hunter armor set, like 1-to-1 represented in this game in a future collab. I don't know if it's possible. We've seen with the Monster Hunter World crossover before in a previous expansion with the Rathalos set. A lot of people didn't seem too happy about that because it doesn't represent Monster Hunter as well as it could. It didn't necessarily look like a Rathalos set. There were certainly elements of it that looked similar, but it didn't go, that's a Rathalos set of armor. It was more of, what is that set of armor? It's cool, but what is it? And yeah, at least they gender unlocked that recently. That's something that we can say. So you can wear the male outfit on your female character, which is actually quite nice. I really like some of the little hints here to obviously Monster Hunter Wilds. With the Black Mage, they gave them the hammer. I suppose it's difficult when you sit down and go, how do we represent Monster Hunter classes in this game when we don't have, a person running around with a two-handed hammer? Well, Black Mage can go and bonk people, apparently. I think that's one of the coolest looking weapons. Personally, there are lots of others that are probably my favorites above this. They're just really good. The only thing, like I say, is I really wish they were dyeable, but at least, you can augment them and have them around if you need to catch up in terms of item level. Here's the Summoner book that I was saying earlier, which I quite like. It just looks like a load of bones that are attached together by chains, which ordinarily would be kind of meh. But I really like that. I can think of several Halloween-y sort of themed glamours to go with this. And there are plenty of armor pieces in the game that do have little persistent purple glows. For example, I'd probably look at the Elemental set on a caster. That could be good from Eureka. But yeah, I do actually really like the book. I think it's quite surprising for me to like a book. I normally hate them. Red Mage is cool. It kind of looks like a feather duster from a distance. Those ones where you for dusting the ceilings, basically. But when it extends out, you've got this huge spine that kind of looks like a stinger or something you would expect to be attacked with in Monster Hunter. And the focus is quite nice as well. But yeah, lots of little dreads of hair dripping off the side of that, sort of interwoven. It looks pretty mean, actually. It looks like a very nice stabby weapon, like a stinger off a bit of a monster or something. So I like that. Then we got Picto, which is currently what I've been maining as a caster this expansion. I have to say, quite impressed. I love the detail on all of these, by the way. The hilt of the weapons with the silver is probably the highlight for me. The palette's a little bit, I'm not sure if I really care about it. It's okay. It kind of looks like a big scale that's been ripped off the side of Arkveld, so I guess that's cool. And the brush itself's not too bad. Again, lack of dyeability is going to mean that it's going to be hard to match a lot of this stuff with an armor set, because it's not a pure white, it's not a snow white, it's not a pearl white, it's kind of like this weird in between. So let's look at some melee DPS then. The monk ones are absolutely fantastic. They kind of remind me more of Byakko weapons than anything else, like massive, almost like tiger fists, or at least that's what I'm getting from this, sort of Arkveld's fists with claws. I do really like these. The return of cool-looking monk weapons, I'm super happy. I will definitely make a glamour to go with these. I need to find out how to match that exact color, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be worth it at the end of the day. I just kind of mashed together a couple of glamour ideas to do like a behemoth thing for the tanks and melee. But yeah, this is another one that surprised me. So this is obviously the lance for your Dragoon, which is pretty cool. It's a lance, but it's also a gun lance. This made me happy, like super happy to see that there's a little gun hole at the end, like a barrel. I was like, oh, so they did manage to fit a gun lance into this game. I kind of want gun lance as an actual class to play in the game now, because I love gun lance from Monster Hunter. It's always a lot of fun to play. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a little bit thinner than I would like. probably a little less detailed than the others, but it's not bad. Ninja is one that very much surprised me. Look at this. Yeah. These like tendrils. So every other weapon has had something break off of it as you've summoned them, right? As you've unsheathed them. With Ninja, it adds to it. They extend out. It's kind of like you've got the tendril chain blades basically off of Arkveld itself that it has on its arms. I think Ninja is probably the most fun one out of all of them, and probably the most accurate to Arkveld. Like, it immediately screams Arkveld to me. That is so cool. I love the Ninja one, absolutely. I wish I played more Ninja, quite honestly. Then we've got Samurai, which is, again, another one of my favorites. I absolutely adore that sheath because it's basically just a bunch of chains and fur, basically keeping a blade in place. It's, see-through, and once you take the blade out, you've got that hollow chain-filled sort of scabbard. Really cool. And the blade is basically bones, sharpened bones with that glow, with that kind of metal section, with all that detail. Oh, the chain off the end of the scabbard. Yeah, Samurai is definitely one of my favorites from this set. It looks so good, in my opinion. You might disagree, but I think it looks so good in our game. Reaper then. Reaper blades, scythes always look good in this game. Ever since Reaper came out, I have been constantly jealous of Reapers that play it as a main in expansions. I kind of want to try it out myself to do melee for one of the Savage tiers. That would be quite fun. It just looks amazing. There's just huge, sharp bone structure folding out. You'll also notice this is the only weapon in the series that has damage near the join there. Like, for some reason, Reaper has, like, a damaged weapon, which is kind of cool, actually, to see wear and tear. But I didn't see any of that on any of the other weapons. Folds away nicely. Viper is probably the one that I'm happiest about because I really like playing Viper. I think Viper's a lot of fun. It was probably a lot more fun on the Media Tour, with the dot, in my opinion, but it is still really, really fun in this game. And it just looks great. It's two big bone blades. What is not to like about that? There's quite a bit of fur sticking out of the side of one. But of course, if you join those weapons together, you've got this basically large helicopter blade. And who can argue with that? It looks so good. Very, very, very big fan of that one. And then we've got Bard, which, whilst it's on your back, it kind of looks a little bit like a hunting horn, actually. I guess that's intentional. And, when it's extended, it's not a harp bow, which is always a plus for me. It does look nice. It really does. You've got the fur, and you've got that bone structure with the scales. Even the quiver is nice on the back there. Got this really mean-looking bolt loaded into the actual bow on the string there. It's a really, really nice-looking weapon. It's very difficult for me to dislike any of these, apart from, like I say, my biggest criticism, I wish I could dye them. I really hope that's something that we could see in the future. I doubt it. Machinist is, again, another one of those weird ones where it has stuff that breaks off of it as you unsheath it. Yeah. And it also transforms. So instead of having those, like, almost like a gun beard, as I would call it, of scales and chains, it just shatters into pieces and then it extends out kind of like a light crossbow, like light bowgun. I guess that's what it's attempting to look like, which is pretty cool, actually. It's definitely unique. Not my favorite, though. Kind of looks like a bird, in my opinion. And then finally, we've got Dancer, which is a little bit surprising. This again has something, you can see all those little scales there. They break off as you unsheath it, and it immediately looks kind of like any of the other weapons. So here's a slow-mo of what it looks like as you're doing it, and then those bits break off. It's not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. I think it looks more like a melee weapon, but they are quite nice. I've seen a lot of people use these, just not my personal cup of tea. But yeah, overall, I've been quite enjoying the event. I have yet to do the extreme. I want to go do that to augment. These are definitely my favorite, though, the Samurai, Reaper, And the Dark Knight and Viper, those are definitely my favorite personally. Let me know what your favorite weapons are, or if you if you completely hate these. All opinions are valid. I quite like pretty much all of the event rewards this time around. It's nice to have so many things packed into an event. I wish all of the other seasonal events could be as packed in as this, and then we'd have lots of things to farm for. But definitely do yourself a favor and go and do the Arkveld stuff and get yourself some cool things. Again, we need to look at some more videos looking at the rewards from the scales. I've nearly got all of the items for that, so watch out for upcoming videos as we explore those items. Much love, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.